At the G20 summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, French President Emmanuel Macron addressed a controversy surrounding comments made by his chief of staff, General Thierry Burkhard, regarding the potential for war in Europe. Macron publicly declared that Burkhard retains his full confidence despite the uproar caused by remarks that many considered inflammatory. The French president described the controversy as a case of his words being taken out of context and dismissed the backlash as an attempt to incite unnecessary fear. The controversy began when Burkhard suggested that France could face the unimaginable prospect of accepting losing its children should Europe be thrust into a conflict. His statement was made in a speech that, according to Macron, was far more nuanced and elaborative than the brief quote that circulated widely. Macron emphasised that the general's words had been misinterpreted and taken out of their full context. "I can see quite well what this is about, taking a quote out of context to instill fear," Macron stated, addressing the press at the G20 summit. He went on to clarify that the French government and military officials had provided full clarification on the matter, with the Ministry of Armed Forces offering additional context to Burkhard's remarks. Macron insisted that those willing to listen to the full explanation would understand that the Chief of Staff's comments were part of a broader, more thoughtful discourse. Despite the public outcry and the criticism from certain political figures, Macron stood by Burkhard. There is only one commander-in-chief in France, and that is the President of the Republic, Macron remarked, reaffirming his leadership in both military and national defence matters. He made it clear that the French army's senior leadership, including Burkhard, has his complete trust, and that any misunderstanding of Burkhard's remarks was based on a misrepresentation of his words. President Macron went further to address what he described as the broader political climate of France. He rejected the idea that the country was headed toward a period of decline or defeatism. In a speech aimed at countering those who felt France's military posture was weakened by the controversy, Macron emphasised his commitment to maintaining a strong and resilient France. "I will not give in to the spirit of defeat, to the prevailing declinism," he declared, sending a clear message to his domestic audience that France would remain a formidable global player in defence and international affairs. France must continue to be a strong nation with a strong army, but also with a capacity for collective resurgence, he continued, speaking about France's role in international security and defence. Macron emphasised that the geopolitical landscape was fraught with risks, and it was vital for the French people to stand united in the face of these challenges. Macron's call for unity underscored his belief that France, as a key European power, must be prepared for both current and future threats. Macron also addressed the issue of European security in the context of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Speaking in English, the French president voiced his support for peace efforts and reiterated the importance of Ukrainian sovereignty and European security. Macron welcomed the efforts of the United States in proposing a ceasefire, but he stressed that Ukraine must be at the negotiating table to ensure its own future. "What is at stake is obviously Ukrainian sovereignty and European security," Macron stated. He underscored the need for a joint plan involving both Ukrainians and Europeans to finalise any potential ceasefire agreement. Macron pointed out that the main obstacle to peace was not the United States, but Russia, which he accused of rejecting multiple ceasefire proposals over the course of the year. "Our only problem, all of us, is Russia, which started this war," Macron asserted, outlining his view that Russia's refusal to engage in peace talks had made the situation far more difficult. The French president also stressed that while the United States had been instrumental in promoting peace, the primary challenge lay in Russia's reluctance to negotiate. He highlighted the fact that Russia had rejected ceasefire proposals from the West, including those in February, March, July and August of the previous year. Macron's comments reflected the broader European frustration with Russia's stance on the conflict. While the situation in Ukraine remained a key priority for Macron, the president also addressed other international crises, including the ongoing conflict in Sudan. Macron expressed his commitment to working with international partners to achieve a ceasefire and to facilitate the resumption of humanitarian aid in the region. He recalled the role of civil society in Sudan's 2019 revolution, paying tribute to the young women who were instrumental in pushing for political change. I remember that civil society was in Paris in 2019, just after the Sudanese revolution, and these young women were so impressive, so powerful, and we owe them so much, Macron said, reflecting on the role of civil society in Sudan's political transition. He called for respect and continued support for those who had contributed to Sudan's path toward peace. Macron then turned his attention to Lebanon, which remains in a fragile state due to ongoing tensions with Hezbollah. The French president expressed his support for the Lebanese people and reaffirmed France's commitment to restoring Lebanon's sovereignty in the south, a region that has long been affected by Hezbollah's presence. Macron stressed the importance of a coordinated effort between France, the United States, and Israel to address the security situation in Lebanon. We are part of the coordination mechanism together in direct discussions with Israel where security is clearly affected, Macron stated, explaining France's approach to resolving the conflict in Lebanon. He emphasised the importance of restoring Lebanese sovereignty and the gradual withdrawal of Israeli forces from the south, while also focusing on the need to combat terrorist groups operating in the region. Macron's statements on Lebanon underscored France's continued involvement in Middle Eastern geopolitics and its role in international peacekeeping efforts. He reiterated that the situation in Lebanon remained precarious, but that coordinated efforts between key international partners could help restore stability. As Macron addressed the media at the G20 summit, his comments highlighted not only his support for his chief of staff amid controversy, but also his broader vision for France's role in global diplomacy. By calling for unity within his own country and emphasising France's commitment to both European and global security, Macron sought to reassure both domestic and international audiences that France would remain a staunch advocate for peace, sovereignty and collective security. In closing, Macron reinforced his call for collaboration among European nations and international partners to address the complex challenges facing the world today. The French president's remarks served as a reminder that despite the internal political disputes and external security threats, France would continue to take a leadership role in international diplomacy and military preparedness. In summary, President Macron's response to the controversy surrounding his chief of staff's remarks reinforced his commitment to maintaining a strong and unified France, both militarily and politically. By addressing the misinterpretation of General Burkhard's comments, Macron sought to restore confidence in France's defence leadership and reaffirmed the nation's readiness to face contemporary security challenges. The president's call for unity and resilience resonated as he emphasised the importance of a collective approach to global risks, especially within the context of European and international security. As France navigates these complex geopolitical dynamics, Macron's statements underscored the ongoing need for strategic coordination on key global issues, from the war in Ukraine to Middle Eastern stability. His leadership, bolstered by support for his military officials and a firm stance on international diplomacy, aims to position France as a reliable and steadfast player on the world stage, committed to both national strength and international peace efforts.